All right, so I was praying on this and didn't really want to do it, and the spirit was like, "Do it." So I'm like, "Okay." Um, One of the reasons I've been preaching with my shirt off is because of this. And first of all, if you don't want to hear the truth, I'm gonna give you a chance to back out of this, like, because I'm going to tell you what God wants me to tell you, and it's gonna prick you a little bit, and so I'm gonna give you time, back out. Okay, so this is coming from someone who has ran and got a strip club shut down, as well as ran and got a escort service shut down. So these are my observations plus what the Holy Spirit is telling me to say. All right, so one thing that people have to understand is God has a say in things. A lot of people live their life like everything they want is going to be attainable the way they're going about it, instead of thinking, well, God can do things. So you want to take that into consideration, because you are borderline committing the full act of adultery. There are people's husbands involved in this. You have a husband somewhere that, whether he's all right with it or not, does not matter to God, because God sees the big picture of what's going to happen to you. You also need to take into effect your age, because that's going to affect the level of wisdom and common sense you've learned. You need to take into effect your background. Was your mom a dancer or a stripper? Because there's a difference between a dancer and a stripper. You need to take into effect your motives and reasons why. You need to take into effect you're about to enter a world of darkness that you didn't know existed. Why would you want to? And I've loved all my girls, and I've taken care of them, and I've served them, and I've been straightforward with them, so I'll do the same thing because I learned that they appreciated it. You can already see the disappointment in my face. Okay, so one quick way to understand a teaspoon: put on the most sluttiest outfit that you can with heels without getting arrested, and walk around the entire day, do everything that you usually do in that outfit. Being on stage is a lot like that. Again, depending. I mean, you could, when you're taking a dancer's advice or a stripper's advice, you need to take into effect their age, when they started, because you start becoming hardened. So you also need to take into effect, do you want to be hardened, or do you want to still view the world the same? Because you're going into a place filled with hurt people that hurt people for money. You also have to take into effect the hours. You're going to work the day shift or the night shift. The clientele is different. Your world is going to revolve around certain hours. You need to take into effect sleep. You need to take into effect what substance are you going to choose to use in order to get through your day. There are some that can do it. One second. Off the wall. There are some things that will impact whether you can do it sober or not. Normally, that's experience. I've already been down that road. I've already been destroyed. I'm trying to get out, but the money's too good. I'm used to it. It's what I know. So you got to take into effect all kinds of things, because when you're getting advice from other dancers and things like that, because I've trained them, they're going to leave out certain things, and I'll catch it. When I was getting to know the girls in the escort service, I was straightforward with them. I was like, I used all the knowledge I had gained from the strip club business, applied it right there, and I was running shit. So you really need to understand that this world revolves around politics and it revolves around money. You need to take an effect. Who's going to view you as a threat and who's going to want you as a friend? Because there are beautiful, amazing people in these environments. And if they sense that you're like them, they'll want you as a friend. So, I mean, you're not gonna... I'm trying to do this in a way where I don't... Because I think that everyone is amazing. I think that everyone has a purpose. And I think that everyone is perfectly made. However, one of the commandments is being broken. So I also have to have a level of severity. And I'm trying to... there's consequences for it. And you're not going to necessarily see those consequences until you're in the trap. So let's go further. A lot of the times you're going to change. Your friends will change. Your lifestyle is going to change. You're going to lose yourself. You're going to begin to think that certain things are perfectly okay. And you won't have a problem with it. At first, it'll be a shock. Then you'll gradually get used to it. And then you'll start lying to yourself. You're going to look at men differently. Men are going to look at you differently. You are going to be in situations where you are going to kneel to men. You are going to... The strip club that I ran was not a high-end one. It was all of the dancers that got kicked out of their other prospective clubs, and they begged to get their job back, and they couldn't, came to mine. So I'm telling you, from the most broken... I also had girls get right off the bus from different states, and from fresh to vets. And I've seen them all cry. I've seen them all broken. And people will tell you what they want to tell you because they're going to want to keep you there. People will tell you what they want to tell you because themselves are doing the same thing that you're going to do or are doing. And really, like, you can ask... You have to picture being in an environment and at the same time wanting a husband that loves and respects you. So someday that battle's going to come. And he's going to say, I don't want you to dance. And you'll have to make a decision. Because you're used to this exciting lifestyle that's not really too exciting. Because a lot of times, things happen and people come into your life, and lo and behold, you have a CPS or DCS case. Kids are gone. Now you're spiraling. If you don't have kids, most dancers will have a rule they don't date customers because they've done it before. So now you've limited, because there's going to have to be that one day, and he asks, so what do you do? And you're going to have to lie to him to keep him around, to try to get to know you. And then he's going to start noticing things. You're going to have to come up with another lie. Because in your mind, you're going to be like, I don't want a man that goes to strip clubs. I want a man that wouldn't go to a strip club, but I work in a strip club. And you might start out as a waitress. And then it'll become that time. You see the money floating around. You say to yourself, I work in a strip club, but I'm just a waitress. And I've had this conversation with dudes. And they've been like, yeah, but she's not a stripper. She's just a waitress. Like off the top, that's the first thing we say to each other. Like real dudes that are about, and I'm not saying the dudes that go there are not real dudes. I think everybody's hurt. But we have conversations behind the scenes. And a lot of times it's like, a dude's like, yeah, I'm dating this girl. She works over here. And it's like, but she ain't no stripper, homie. She ain't no stripper. Because a lot of us have already gone through it. And it's just like, we're not going to do that. So it's like, because the first thing we're going to be like, I. So you've got that to deal with. You also have to take into effect your long-term goals, because a lot of girls go into it. I'm only going to do it for this amount of time. I'm only going to do it for this and this and this. And then they're 35, 36. And I'm not saying there's anything negative about that. I'm not saying there's no hope or anything like that. I'm just saying go into one, because I'm the dude that's seen the girls crying, seen a girl crying, taking a shot of vodka, looking in the mirror, mascara's running down her face. She doesn't want to deal with that. So she comes up with some lie because she wants to go home. And she's like, someone stole my shoes. I can't work today. Because she's not going to sit there and break down and be like, this place is killing me. She's just like, I can't do this today. Because something just happened that she's not telling me about. And I'm like, what happened? She's used to getting groped. She's used to being disrespected and smiling anyway. She's used to that. I've carried out girls that got drugged somehow from the VIP. The strip club I was involved with was not just a strip club. So I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot. I know how things operated there. So I'm going to apply that plus the words God has given me to say, and kind of make this an expansive video that addresses all kinds of things. And she's crying, and other girls are coming in, and I'm just like, get out. Because I'm not even dealing with you guys right now, and you can't help this situation, just get out. And I'm like, okay, what happened? And she's telling me everything's piled up on her. The boyfriend that she does have hasn't been home for 3 days. She missed her CPS visit. She's sitting there trying to hold it all together, and I'm just looking at her. In other cases, her boyfriend is having sex with the other strippers, and she's pregnant. And most of them have always told me, I hate this, Polly. I hate this, Polly. I hate this. But I can't get another job. I don't have a GED. And some have high school diplomas. And I've seen both types. I've seen in the escort service, I saw one that just took to it like a fish in water. Knew how to manipulate men, made a lot of money, cried a lot. Was very gentle, was very kind, soft-spoken, but very, very angry inside. And they will tell you, no, you have control over the men. So your job becomes to lie to men so that they'll come back because you want your regulars. Well, now you've opened up another door. There's rules to having regulars. If it's somebody else's regular, that regular has to come to you. You can't go out and get somebody else's regular. Now you've created some bad blood. Now there's tension every time you walk in. That contributes. Okay, I need a drink to be able to work tonight. You're impacting people's money. If one doesn't think they're as attractive as you are, you're a target. Now you have that coming into play. Okay, I need something. You have to go into a whole different world to feel comfortable walking around either naked or semi-naked. Then you might have to do things in order to entice people to give you money because you still have to tip out. You only made this much, don't care, tip out. You tip the DJ, tip the bartender, pay your house fee. Yeah, you just worked 4 hours for that amount of money. Just got taken from you like that. Then you have to compete with girls that are willing to... A lot of porn stars came from stripping. And I've seen dancers parading in, this is my movie. And DJ was like, yeah, our resident porn star so-and-so coming to the stage. If this is who you want to become, because you're going to become numb or it's going to become all you think about and dread every single day that you have to work. Because it is work. You'll find that out quick. Now, it will start out as a big party. But you also have to remember, God doesn't want his daughter in this environment. So God's going to step in. Now you have the God factor that's always existed. And it's going to get unfun real fast. Because you broke that commandment. It has to be addressed. Things can go as far as you want them to go. So you really need to consider there is no guide, there is no way to be successful at stripping. There's no successful way to destroy yourself. And I've seen people get creative and they've tried to set up GoFund accounts. They've tried all kinds of things. I've seen them. And I've just kind of, all right. Your love for money is worth destroying yourself. Then money is your God. Then money can protect you. Now this is going to prick a little bit, but I'm going to do it anyway. You need to look at the women's appearance under the black lights versus in the dressing room versus in the daytime. You need to think about how it's going to feel to know that you're being laughed at by men. And then how it's going to feel when you're trying to find a man that you trust to love and protect you. Because you're going to develop reflexes. You're going to see things totally different. You're going to see signs based off your experiences, and you're going to automatically respond, react, and expect the same thing to happen from a man that just loves you. You're going to completely destroy closeness in your relationships. You're going to try and find it through other means. You're going to be very lonely. So you need to be comfortable with being alone. Friends are going to turn on you because substances are being used. People that you thought you could trust are going to turn into monsters right in front of your eyes. You will have nowhere to go. Expect to cry. You're going to do that a lot. Till you get hardened. Once you get hardened, like anything else you do a lot, you're going to find a way that you think you have perfected it, and then you're going to get blindsided. It's never going to stop. Because every single day you're going to be breaking a commandment. Because you're not just impacting you, you're impacting people's husbands, you're impacting little children, you are impacting yourself. Your value system is going to completely change. Also, the things that are valuable to you are going to completely change. And you eventually are going to be broken. There's no way to lighten this up. Let's go further. So, you've learned the politics, you've learned the rules. Going back and forth between substance use. Because you've wanted to fit in and you've wanted to party like everybody else. And we'll also say that you're not going to sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning every night, or sleeping all through the day, or really dealing with your time outside the club, trying to have some semblance of a normal life. I'm also taking it back to how I felt when I was running one. So it wasn't, I was sleeping until I had to go to work. So it became all I knew. It became my everyday life. But it became something like I don't want to miss what might happen because something was always happening. And it's also kind of like, I want to make sure the girls are okay. I want to make sure the owner's okay. I want to make sure it was like a mixture of things because I would get tired of it and I'd just be like, here's the keys. And I'd get called back into it because I had to stay until the mission was accomplished. So it was a shooting inside of it, and it was like the third one, and then all kinds of things were happening, and it finally got, the owner was making payments to the real owner, and that real owner was just like, no more of this. So you need to take into effect all of the men you're going to be bowing down to on a regular that you despise. And the mentality of your customers. Because you're going to despise them because they're going to be talking about a lot of things that hit home with you. And they're going to be doing things and offering you things. And you're going to start taking little steps towards what branches out from starting as a stripper. Because eventually it's going to hit your mind that there's a quicker way to make a lot more money than this. And you're already desensitized. You might as well. Well, now you just entered a whole nother world. It's like this. It starts here, then there's a trapdoor, then another trapdoor, and then another trapdoor. But that comes down to a lot of different things. You'll start out saying, I would never do that. Everybody says that. I would never do that. And that's one of the things that breaks them because they say, I told myself I would never do that. So recapping, you've fallen in love a few times, gotten your heart completely shattered, used substances in order to kind of nurse your wounds while you're getting destroyed. So it's not really possible. It's the equivalent of basically trying to stick an IV into your vein to give you a blood transfusion while your entire body is being slit with a razor filled with salt over and over and over again. Sorry for the graphic, but that's what God wanted me to say. So basically, you have entered your own personal hell. And you can talk to dancers and strippers that say they don't feel that way. And you can talk to the ones that got out of it. And you're like, well, high-end clubs are way different. I would say, not really. That's a whole nother level of darkness. That ties into the one I just explained. Because God is watching his daughter systematically and slowly destroy herself while rebelling against him, while hurting his kids. The question then becomes how to get out. You ask God to get you out. And he will. Because he's been waiting to hear that. And then he's going to flip it all into something beautiful based off your choices and restore you as the royalty he's always seen you as. So that's all the Spirit wanted me to tell you. I love you more than you know, and I do.